lovely little apple that featured in the last video has now gone on to, it's transmuted into another form. Yes, I devoured it, all of it, including the seeds, which turned out to be a wonderful experience. Because those seeds potentially were a tree, and it is often said about how trees hold knowledge, which they do. There's a thing called the tree of life, for example. So those seeds have not died. Their information has just been transmuted for me to relay. This realm is Maya. So often things will come out in their opposite form as a contrast. So for example, something that is not of this realm, from outside of this realm, may manifest as something that is a complete opposite, like a solid material form. In the case of humanity, that would be a skeleton. Hence you have an image like this one. The Grim Reaper in action, the splitting of the avatar, the splitting of the garment. I was led to just do a Google search on trees struck by lightning. There's a fantastic shot, a sort of 1 in a billion chance of actually seeing lightning striking the tree, and the entire trunk is glowing orange. There's also a little bit further scrolling down that classic tree that's split in half. It's that third stage of the birth from above. See, the Grim Reaper, the way I've expressed that, it's like that lightning, that lightning bolt that comes down that splits you in half. You sort of transcend, as it were, because of course, because this is a Maya reality and it's all to do with finite rather than infinite. In this reality, the tree that's split in half, that's struck by lightning, dies. But it also shows in that how it breaks the cycle. But when you see it in the metaphysical, what's actually happening, it's like a lightning bolt that is splitting your tree trunk, your tree of life, because that's what these avatars are for, so you can experience life. That is your tree of life. If you look at the human physiology with the veins and the nerves, they all resemble tree roots. So when we don't break the cycle, that following the serpent and being consumed by the knowledge of good and evil, and actually then doing that cycle like the tree does, of starting as a seed, turning into a tree to produce another apple. The apples don't fall far from the tree, is the saying. You also have that expression about the apple in the eye. Now, which eye is it referring to? What about the mind's eye? When you see the apple in that eye, it's the Taurus fields, it's the hyperpoloid, it's all of it. It's amazing what comes out. It's, I suppose you could say, it's a variation on the testimony of the shaman in the Amazon rainforest saying that the plants told them the chlorophyll synchronizes with the human body. And what a wonderful process. I mean, we are, as Dr. Robert Morse, if you look at his channel, or in one of the playlists, there's the beautiful lecture on the lymphatic system. That's probably the most concise explanation of how these avatars work, and that they are really supposed to be, we're supposed to just be fruitarians and breatharians. The expression about windfalls, not in the material sense, but in the metaphysical sense, that will be something that will be freely given by nature in the physical. That memory I have of just holding out your hand and something that resembles a mango would just drop into your hand, and it was abundant, and it was asking permission from the tree, may I have one of your fruit? And the tree would respond. It was a beautiful time when we had that interaction. It's expressed in the garden as being man having dominion over everything. Not in a tyrannical sense, but like an overseer, an oversoul, as Jason Archaics would describe Source or the Creator. We are co-creators, so you are an oversoul, even if you don't realize it, because you haven't found the I am that is within you. That's the answer to everything, I am. And it's in a realm called Maya. But you never see I am, you just see these avatars, these garments. It's one actor playing all the parts, and we're all reflections. I mean, I got a beautiful compliment, thank you, Claudio, but I am your reflection, and that is what seeing the Christ really is, because when you recognize that light in another, you're actually seeing yourself reflected back. So if someone says you're awesome or you've got great wisdom, it's just a reflection. You're just reflecting each other. This is the realm of Maya, which is a mirror, which is also the Mer, the My RH, the My blood, in this physical material form, because you are the consubstantiality of matter and spirit in this experience. How could you have an experience in the material realm unless you had a way of interacting with the material realm? That is why we have these human avatars, to interact in this realm. And look at someone like Neville Goddard, who went the full distance, had the birth from above, and then carried on for a number of years. I think it was 1965, so he had about 7 years, so 3.5 year periods, or a full 7-year period, in which he carried on just sharing his experiences. So it's not as if, like with going back to the lightning striking the tree and splitting it in half, that's not the end. You can still carry on in this reality, and with that level of ability to co-create and to create, why wouldn't you want to put that to good use and lead by example and do that? It seems that Neville knew that his time when his time was coming to an end. I have heard lectures where, I think in 1971, where he actually talks to this, he knows his time is not long, and he knows keeps doing this. It's a loop, just like the seeds becoming the apple tree that produces another apple, which becomes another tree, and so on. The cycle continues. You've got the nature cycle. We've gone into the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, so we have to have all these experiences. But these experiences consume us, so until we break the cycle, we just keep going round and round and round. You're sort of in that toroidal field, and you just keep going round and round and round, but you go back to source out of it. It's a beautiful thing, and so sort of while it's still fresh in the moment, I don't know how far the seeds have digested, but they have imparted their knowledge. I think that's beautiful, and I thought I just wanted to share that because I feel it also adds to that inner standing. That because all this journey is to find out who you truly are, and these physical garments, they're not. They're just a contrast. But it's when you see with the mind's eye and you see your reflections, and those reflections are now with clarity. There's no sticky fingerprints all over the mirror, and it's not misted up, and you can see clearly, and you see that reflection, and it is you that is looking back at you. How beautiful is that? Just a crystal chandelier with many crystals that make up the whole. And like with the crystal chandelier that is the light in the room, so that is a sort of world, as it were, within usually a sort of roughly a cube shape. But in the metaphysical, it's like a crystal chandelier, and you are the light in the world. You are in a embodiment, a physical avatar within a physical realm. So you're within something else. So now turn that externally, and that may also help to answer and give a huge indication of, it would seem to be that it's a cube within a cube. It's like a Russian doll, basically. But how many parts are there? That's all part of the fun, the potential. Like a computer game, you've got the players, you've got the background scene that's going to keep running, and how many levels would you like there to be, really? If imagination creates reality, and you go on mastering the ability to co-create and to create the world around you, well, maybe you then, in the next level, are able to create a world, and you can decide in that world how many levels that will progressively get harder and harder and more of a challenge and yet more interesting. And you'll probably want to keep going round and round on that as well. And it just seems to be an eternal loop, a figure of 8. So 8 is, I think, change as well, isn't it? And it's an eternal loop. But I find that rather fantastic and rather fun, and wouldn't miss it for the world. So love to you all, and thought I'd just share that with you. So have a beautiful, beautiful day.